Welcome to the Sports Bash pre-show presented by Bean Coffee House. They have freshly brewed coffee and tea, along with an assortment of quick bites to choose from. Go to their locations in Sayville, Bayshore, North Babylon, and Babylon Village to try their exclusives for yourself. And good morning, everyone. I'm Peter Schwartz. Vinny Tickets is off today. Phone number to call on the show is 631-451-1039. And coming up on the show, we'll have a special guest. New York Post sports writer Zach Braziller will join us to talk about the Yankees and the Mets with the trading deadline coming up tomorrow and what the Mets and Yankees have done in the last few days. We'll check out our Sports Bash Media poll question from Friday, and we'll have a new one for today, and we'll have this day in sports history with Whiz Kid Vinny. It is time for the Sports Bash Flash, and it is brought to you by the Embassy Diner in Bethpage, where every customer is considered family. The Embassy Diner is located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage. Mention Sports Bash and get a free dessert with your meal. We'll begin in Beantown. The Yankees looking for the series win against the Red Sox.
Hit in the air, deep right field. Moving back is O'Neill near the warning track, and it bounces onto the track and into the Red Sox bullpen. It's going to be a ground rule double. Torres will score from third. Rice comes in to follow on at second with a grounds rule double, and 2 RBIs is Oswaldo Cabrera.
That was Justin Shackle with the call on WFAN. The Yankees take the rubber game from the Red Sox, winning 8-2 at Fenway Park. Carlos Rodon with his second straight good start, allowing 2 runs and 5 hits while striking out 7 over 6 in the third. And in his Yankees debut, Jazz Chisholm, who arrived not long before the start of the game, went 1 for 5 with a run scored in his Yankees debut. And now the Yankees are set to move on to Philadelphia to open up a series with the Phillies starting tonight. First pitch is at 6:40. The Mets settle for a split of their 4-game series with the Braves. They lose to Atlanta 9-2 at Citi Field on Sunday. David Peterson took the loss, giving up 4 runs and 4 hits over 5 innings. Pete Alonso providing the only Mets offense, and it came late. A 2-run homer in the 8th inning, his 21st of the season, and Alonso sums up the series.
There's plenty of bright spots and plenty of moments to learn from, and ultimately, I think that we did a pretty decent job this weekend. Obviously, splitting the series, not great, but could have been better. But I think that we definitely earned the 2 games that we won for sure. I mean, I think that we're playing good baseball overall.
Mets will now commence a series with the Twins tonight at Citi Field. That is weather permitting right now. There's some rain in the area and some forecasts for showers, so we'll see if they get that one in tonight. First pitch is set for 7:10. Atlantic League, big win for the Ducks yesterday as they beat Lancaster by a score of 8-0. At the Olympics yesterday, the USA men's basketball team opening up their first-round action, beating Serbia 110-84. Kevin Durant scoring 23 points off the bench, while LeBron James added 21 points. So a good start for the U.S. Olympic men's team. As for soccer, the women's team beating Germany yesterday by a score of 4-2. So it was a busy weekend of sports for the Mets and the Yankees. The Mets get that split of the 4-game series against the Braves. I can't help but think that it was almost a lost weekend for the Mets after you win the first 2 games and you move into that number 1 wild card spot in the National League. I think it would have been better for them certainly to have at least won one of the other 2 games. But then the offense went quiet on Saturday, getting shut out, and then it took a Pete Alonso 8th inning home run yesterday to break the shutout. As far as the Yankees go, the weekend didn't start out very well, blowing another lead on Friday night, but they come back and win Saturday and Sunday, and they feel a little bit better about themselves, and they're very, very lucky because the Orioles keep losing as well, though the Orioles won yesterday, so the Yankees come out of the weekend down by just 1 game in the American League East. If you think about all the issues the Yankees have had over the last, month, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, whenever they started this swoon that they're in, the fact that they are 1 game out of first place in the American League East. Now, it's funny because if you said at the beginning of the season, on July 29th or 30th, whatever it is, Yankees will be 1 game out of first place and have the record that they have, you probably sign up for it. But what you don't sign up for it is the way that they got to this point, and I think that's the problem. But perhaps there's some more trades for Brian Cashman to make, coming up. But certainly a good weekend for the Yankees. I call it a little bit incomplete because of Friday still. Maybe I'm being a little nitpicky, but I think certainly for both the Mets and the Yankees, incomplete weekends when you think about what the bigger picture was in terms of moving forward in the playoff race. Coming up on the show, I'm going to be joined by New York Post sports writer Zach Braziller. We'll talk Yankees and Mets with him. We'll have This Day in Sports History. Again, we'll check out the Sports Bash media poll question of the day. We'll give you the results of the one we had on Friday and another one today. And we have some really big guests coming up in studio this week. A couple of really good shows that I'm looking forward to. On Tuesday and Wednesday, we'll tell you all about that. So it's a big week for Sports Bash here on LI News Radio 103.9 FM, as well as on our YouTube, Facebook and YouTube pages. So that's all coming up later on this week. We're going to step aside. We're going to welcome in our radio audience in just a moment. Zach Braziller from the New York Post is going to join us at Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Sports Bash, presented by TicketBash.com. Sports Bash is brought to you by the Embassy Diner in Bethpage. Mention Sports Bash, get a free dessert with your meal by the Marty Lyons Foundation, the official charity of Sports Bash Media. Visit them at martylyonsfoundation.org, and by Collaborate Studios, a content marketing production facility. For more info, call them at 516-509-8277. Good morning, everyone. I'm Peter Schwartz. Vinny Tickets has the day off. 631-451-1039 is the number to call. And coming up on the show, we're going to be joined by New York Post sports writer Zach Braziller. He's going to talk Yankees and Mets with us. We'll also check out our Sports Bash Media poll question of the day. We'll recap the question from Friday and give you the new question for today. And then WizKid will be by with This Day in Sports History. So first off, we want to welcome in our special guest on the show today. It was a big weekend for the Yankees and the Mets with some big games. The trading deadline is coming up, and on the line with us to talk about it is Zach Braziller, sports writer for the New York Post, and he joins us here on Sports Bash this morning. Zach, it's Peter. How are you?
What's up, Peter? How's it going, man?
It's going great. Thanks for spending a few minutes of your Monday morning with us here on the show. Let's start with the Mets, because their weekend started off very, very strong with wins on Thursday and Friday, and they kind of came back down to earth over the weekend with losses on Saturday and Sunday. So when you think about where the Mets came from, where they are now, how do you sum up the weekend for them against the Braves?
Yeah, it was a strange one. I was there the whole weekend. Friday night, it was like a party. They scored 7 runs in the third inning, 3 home runs. Kodai Senga is dominating, and then he hurts the calf on the pop-up, trying to get out of the way, and the place went completely quiet. We find out later it's a high-grade calf strain. He's going to be out the rest of the regular season, and the Mets don't score again. Told the 8th inning yesterday with Pete Alonso's home run when the game was really over. Was it a byproduct of the injury and the Mets just being flat the rest of the weekend? Probably not. The Braves pitched really well. The Mets bats are bound to cool off a little bit. They hit so well against the Yankees and the Braves early part of the series. Look, could have been a worse weekend. Obviously, could have been better. They had a million chances yesterday early to go ahead. I think if you're a Mets fan, you just hope that you just turn the page here quick and you bounce back against the Twins. The issue to me was the offense. I know people get on McGill and David Peterson saying they didn't pitch well, but look, the Mets scored 2 runs in 2 games, and the key to this team over the last 6 to 8 weeks has been this offense that's just been a powerhouse that's piled up runs. And look, when the Mets don't score runs, they're going to have trouble winning games just because their pitching isn't good enough. And they ran into a team. Look, the Braves pitched really well. They're third best ERA in the sport. The bullpen's really good. They have very good starting pitching. So, look, the Mets got shut down a little bit over the weekend here.
They made a couple of moves, including adding Jesse Winker, who made his Mets debut, pinch hitting yesterday. So I would think that, David Stearns and Steve Cohen and all the Mets brass and everything, they have to be all in, given where they came from to get to this point. Now, being involved in this wild card race, I got to think the Mets got to be all in. And I would think, and I don't know if you agree, that there's got to be at least one or two more moves made before the trading deadline tomorrow.
Yeah, there's no question. They need to add a starting pitcher. You can't keep running Tyler McGill out there. I know Peterson didn't pitch great yesterday, but he's been pretty good for the most part. And look, he's your number 5 starter. To me, you can get by with that, but they can't get by with McGill in that rotation. He's got a 5.2 ERA. That's a 2-7 when he pitches. I know he wasn't necessarily awful on Saturday, but to me, they're not making the playoffs with the starting rotation as is. I guess they could move Jose Buto in the rotation if they have to. But look, he's pitched Austin out of the bullpen, and I think they need him in that bullpen.
I don't think they're going to. I would not think the Mets, whatever good arm they have in the bullpen, I think they want to keep there. So that would kind of, be robbing from Peter to pay Paul, so to speak.
Yeah, look, I don't have any doubt they need a starting pitcher. Look, Jack Flaherty, Eric Fetty. I know they've inquired about Jameson Taillon, but it doesn't sound like the Cubs are going to move him. Who knows? Maybe Blake Snell. There are a bunch out there. Look, it's going to cost. The Mets are going to have to give up something here, and I know they don't want to trade one of their top prospects. So they're going to have to give up something if they really want to get a starting pitcher. And there's no doubt they need a starting pitcher. We've seen Tyler McGill now for 3 years. I think we know what he is.
Yeah, no, I think they definitely have to, move on if they want to be serious about making the playoffs and making some noise in the playoffs. They have to make some moves. We're talking to Zach Braziller from the New York Post here on Sports Bash, presented by Ticketbash.com. Zach, let's move over to the Yankees, and they were obviously active over the weekend, adding Jazz Chisholm. He shows up right before the game last night. The Yankees take 2 out of 3 from the Red Sox. It's been a tough road for the Yankees over the last 5 or 6 weeks after the big start to the season. Them, too, I would think, have some moves to make before the trading deadline tomorrow. What's your thumbnail on where the Yankees are right now, a game behind the Orioles in the AL East?
I think the Yankees are in an incredibly great spot. You look at what they've been for the better part of the last 6 weeks, and to me, only one game out of the division lead is incredible. Now,
it speaks to how bad the Orioles have been too.
No question about it. They've been awful. They nearly blew a 6-0 lead to the Padres yesterday. They almost got swept by the Marlins. They've been really, really bad. And, I keep going back with the Yankees to the first 70 games and how good they were. And I know the Yankee fans have been freaking out over the last 6 weeks. And I understand that the team has played really poorly. But those first 70 games weren't a fluke. You don't go 50-21 by accident. There's a better team in there than what we've seen of late. And look, they're going to have the schedule in August is very soft. You got Stanton coming back. You add Chisholm. I think the Yankees are going to get going here. I really do.
Yeah, I think the return of Stanton, Zach, not even so much as what he would do with the bat. And remember, he was having a good season power-wise. He has over 20 home runs this season, I think is the number. But just what he's going to be able to do to help protect Soto and Judge in front. Aaron Judge is getting the Barry Bonds treatment now, getting walked a lot of the time. But I certainly think that the return of Stanton, just from a presence standpoint, has to help the Yankees starting tonight.
Oh, yeah. The lineup just looks so much different. You throw, look, with the way Wells has played, he's been terrific. You add Chisholm in there. Yeah, look, I think the Yankees are, I was really, I think if you're a Yankee, you have to be encouraged. They had to split with Tampa right after the break. I know the Mets series was bad, but then they come back and they take 2 of 3 in Boston. It'll be interesting to see. Look, as good as the Phillies are, the Phillies have not played great lately. I think they've lost 4 straight series, so that's going to be an interesting series coming up. And look, it'll be interesting to see what Cashman does here. There's no doubt the Yankees need some bullpen help. They could use some more help in the infield. You wonder if they move Gleyber Torres. He's not thrilled about, he said it yesterday. He's a second baseman. He doesn't like the idea of having to move, and, we'll see what happens there. I would expect Cashman to do at least 1 or 2 more trades here before the deadline. But look, I know it's been doom and gloom with this team, but I think, I think we're getting close to the end of the dark tunnel here. I really do. They have a big homestand coming up against some bad teams. You would think they'll pick up some ground. I still think this team's going to win 95 games. I really do.
Yeah, listen, I think whether they win the division or not, the Yankees will be in the playoffs. The Mets are another story. They have to fortify that roster a little bit and make some improvements and battle for that wild card spot. So let me wrap up with this: when we're looking ahead to October, your crystal ball, the Yankees and Mets both in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think so. Yes, I do. I think so. I think the Yankees are going to find a way to win this division. It feels like something's really off with the Orioles. It really does. And yeah, I think the Mets are going to get a wild card. I do. I think I think getting Winker was a really good move.
Yep.
I know Stanek wasn't good yesterday, but I think he is a solid arm. He will help them in that bullpen. They're getting Garrett back. They're getting Reed Foley back. Nunez will be back soon. I think the Mets have enough to get in. I think they're better than a few of those teams they're battling with. So, yeah, look, I think both teams are going to make it, so I think we'll have a fun October here.
Zach Braziller from the New York Post. Thank you so much, Zach, for joining us here on Sports Bash. Catch you at the ballpark at some point before the end of the season.
Thanks for having me, man. Have a good one, all right?
You too. Zach Braziller from the New York Post. Stay with us on Facebook and YouTube. Some more content during the break, and then we're back with This Day in Sports History and the poll question. It's coming up. Sports Bash, presented by Ticketbash.com. Hi, I'm Peter Schwartz.
And I'm Vinny Tickets.
We want to take a moment to talk about our fantastic sponsor, the Embassy Diner.
Embassy Diner has been a beloved staple in the restaurant industry for over 50 years. And the great thing about it is when you walk through the door, you're not a customer, you are family. Every visit promises to be filled with warmth, love, and respect.
And here's an extra treat. If you mention Sports Bash during your visit, you enjoy a free dessert on the Embassy Diner.
Come on down to the Embassy Diner, where great food and great company are always on the menu.
Visit the Embassy Diner, located at 4280 Hempstead Turnpike in Bethpage. It's Peter Schwartz back with you on Sports Bash, presented by Ticketbash.com during our commercial break. So thanks to everyone on Facebook and YouTube for sticking with us through the break. We have about a minute before we welcome back in our radio audience. We'll have the Sports Bash Media poll question of the day, a look back at the question we posed to you on Friday, and a new question for today that I think will be interesting, especially for Yankee fans. So there's a little tease. So that's coming up when we come back with our radio audience in just a moment. We'll talk more about this during the second segment, but we have a couple of live guests coming in. Tom Falcone from Pioneer Sports is going to be in studio with us on Tuesday to talk about a couple of upcoming clinics for kids that they're going to be doing, including one with Yankees pitcher Clark Schmidt this coming Thursday in Massapequa. So we're going to talk about that. Wednesday, there's a show I'm very excited about. Kevin Coveas, the Long Island native and a former contestant on American Idol, is going to be in studio with us as well. He's a huge sports fan, Yankees, Mets, Knicks, and we'll have a great conversation with him about his experience with American Idol, going out to Hollywood for a few years, and what he's doing now, and we'll talk some sports with him. But we welcome back our radio audience right now. Welcome back to Sports Bash, presented by Ticketbash.com. 631-451-1039 is the number to call. It's Peter Schwartz with you. Vinny Tickets has the day off. He'll be back with us tomorrow on the show. It is now time for the Sports Bash Media poll question of the day. We post a new question every weekday on the Sports Bash Media X/Twitter page. First, let's go back to Friday's poll question. And now that Billy Joel's Madison Square Garden residency is over, what area stadium should the Piano Man play first? And we had a big response to this question. A lot of big Billy Joel fans, especially out here on Long Island. We had 4 choices: Citi Field, Yankee Stadium, MetLife Stadium, or other. And the big winner was Citi Field with 52% of the vote. Yankee Stadium picked up 23%, and MetLife Stadium picked up 11%. If you remember when we had Art Stapleton, the Giants beat writer for NorthJersey.com, on the show last week, he kind of hinted that he was hearing some rumblings that Billy is set to play MetLife Stadium next summer. I think now that, Billy said on an interview on NBC, he wants to try and play all the stadiums in the area. At least that's the hope over the next, year or so. The schedule for July for 2025 is all mapped out. So I could see him playing Citi Field. I can see him playing Yankee Stadium, and I can also see that he would play MetLife Stadium as well. There were some votes. 14% people went off the board. Some people wanted them to still stay at Madison Square Garden, but we did get a couple of votes for Jones Beach, which I think would be a great venue for a Billy Joel concert, and also UBS Arena, where he played on New Year's Eve. So a lot of possibilities now that he is not tied to the Madison Square Garden residency anymore. Now to today's question, and I kind of teased this during the break for our Facebook and YouTube viewers. Trading deadline is coming up on Tuesday. The Yankees have already added Jazz Chisholm. I would imagine Brian Cashman is busy working the phones today and tomorrow to try and add some more pieces. So here's the question. Should the Yankees include prospect Spencer Jones in a trading deadline deal? And it's 2 answers, yes or no. We're not going to make it very overly complicated with a question like that. You either think they should include him, go all out, try to win the division, compete for a world championship this year, or is he that valuable and that important for the future that you hang on to him and try and make the team better in other ways? Remember, Jason Dominguez just came back to AAA Scranton Wilkes-Barre, so as he gets some more at-bats down in AAA, he could be somebody the Yankees could summon. Remember, he came up last year and tore the cover off the ball. So my opinion would be that the Yankees should hold on to Spencer Jones. I just think the way he's playing at AA, and I haven't even seen him at AAA yet, but I just think with a left-handed bat like that, with power, I would try it at all costs not to include him in any trade, try to get some help by not including him in a deal. But, some people might want to say, look, the Yankees are being built to win the World Series. Spencer Jones is not going to help you win the World Series this year, so just trade him, get somebody back, and try and go win a world championship. But we'll see how the voting goes. Should the Yankees include prospect Spencer Jones in a trading deadline deal? Now it is time for This Day in Sports History, and with that, we turn the microphone over to WizKid Vinny.
Thanks, Peter. And on this day in 1995, in the Hall of Fame game in Canton, Ohio, the Carolina Panthers defeated their expansion brethren Jacksonville Jaguars by a score of 20-14. Now, this was their first year, both in the league. It didn't go so great for the first year, but for the second year, both teams made the conference finals. So, for all we know, if the NFL ever decides to expand yet again...
They shouldn't, but they probably will. Like other sports, take the money.
Well, it hasn't happened since 2002 with the Texans.
Yeah, but you just get the feeling. Well, look, if they don't expand, they're still going to continue to do more of these foreign games, which I don't like. But yeah, those 2 expansion teams got good really quick.
They did. Well, the Jaguars were still good in the late 90s. Panthers, they had that bad year.
They were up and down, and down.
But they still made the Super Bowl in 2003 against the Patriots.
They didn't get the job done, though.
That was still an amazing Super Bowl.
Granted,
I know it got overshadowed by Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake, but that was truly a great Super Bowl.
Yeah, thankfully, we've been doing this show now for coming up on a year, me and Vinny, and we have not had a wardrobe malfunction on the show at all, which I think for our viewers on the internet is a good thing. On radio, it really wouldn't matter, but thankfully, neither of us have had a wardrobe malfunction on the show.
It's fortunate, but that's not exactly something.
We've had other malfunctions, but we have not had a wardrobe malfunction. As Chris Gannon, our video coordinator, is smiling.
Yes, there's that. But yeah, in general, I mean, I'm interested to see what the future of the NFL is. For the Hall of Fame ceremony this year, for the Hall of Fame game, it's the Texans and the Bears, of course, because of Andre Johnson and the numerous people they put in for the Bears.
It's amazing how the Hall of Fame game has evolved in the NFL, because now obviously they have the beautiful Tom Benson Stadium that I've been to a few times, and my family and I went to the Hall of Fame game last summer to see the Jets and the Browns. And this is why the NFL is probably the best run sports league, aside from putting the games in Europe. I don't like that, but this is why they've become so powerful. There was a Super Bowl feel to that game. They bring in the Super Bowl public address announcer that the NFL employs. I don't know what his name is. I probably should, but he's wonderful. He does the Super Bowl every year, and they bring him in for the Hall of Fame game. And I got to tell you, the place is packed, 25,000 people, whatever that stadium holds. And it literally and nobody played for either team, the Jets or the Browns. Not one starter played in the game, and it felt like the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
that's how that stadium felt that night.
I was in Canton last year, actually, and you said that you were as well.
Yeah, we were there for the inductions to see Joe Klecko and Darrell Rivas get in, and we were there for the game.
I was there more so for Ken Riley, because I have a lot of friends that are Bengals fans that helped get him in, and from watching Jim Foster. Tom Justin, thanks again. Keep pushing. But yeah, it was an amazing experience.
Yeah, the town was painted green. A lot of Jet fans were in town that weekend.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Winnie. So, did I say Winnie? Whiz Kid Vinny. It was a combination of Whiz and Vinny together. It was a slip of the tongue.
Do I look like Winnie the Pooh to you?
No, I don't know why I said that. Chris's face is turning beet red. He's going to fall off the chair. And Sebastiano cracking a smile over there as well. And he's always serious. For him to smile, it must have been funny, whatever I said.
It was funny for me, too.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So Winnie. Wow. Video crew, we're going to cut up that video. That's going to be on the list for today. We have a couple of big in-studio guests coming up on the show later this week. Tomorrow, we're going to be joined by Pioneer Sports co-founder Tom Falcone. We'll talk about a couple of upcoming youth sports clinics, including one with Yankees pitcher Clark Schmidt. That's coming up this coming Thursday night in Massapequa. And Pioneer Sports, as part of Free Ticket Tuesday, will be giving away on the show tomorrow 2 tickets to see for your kids to go to that clinic in Massapequa on Thursday. So that's coming up on the show. They also have a clinic coming up later in August with former Rangers goalie Mike Richter. And again, you know what my feelings are on the Rangers, but that's still a pretty cool clinic for kids to go to learn about the game of hockey. And then on Wednesday, we'll play Stump the Wiz. You're gearing up for that, right?
I'm ready.
So you want to make sure you get your questions in. DM your questions to the Sports Bash Media X, Facebook, and Instagram pages, and we're going to pick a question that is submitted. If you stump this guy right here to my right, you will win 4 tickets to see the Premier Lacrosse League semifinals at Hofstra Stadium on September 7th. It's a Saturday, so we'll be giving away 4 tickets for that. So enter, even if you don't want to go to the game, which I can't imagine why you wouldn't want to go. It's going to be 2 great lacrosse games, but just to have it in your back pocket that you stumped this guy, because he's been on such a roll. You got stumped last week, barely, but just the title of having stumped the Wiz has to mean something to some people, right?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Absolutely. So you want to get that in, and then Kevin Koveas, from American Idol, Long Island native, will be in studio with us on Wednesday to talk sports with him. He's a huge sports fan. And just maybe we'll get him to loosen up the vocal cords a little bit, and maybe we'll have him do a little music, a little mini concert in studio on Wednesday. Maybe we can get Kevin to do that. If he's watching, start practicing, because I'm going to throw some songs at you that you performed during season 5 on American Idol, and we're going to want to, go down memory lane and hear some of those back. Do you remember any of the songs he did in season 5?
No, but I guess we're going to be our own version of Randy Jackson, Simon Cowell, and Paul Abdul.
That was a story from his audition. So we'll talk about that with him. That'll do it for this edition of Sports Bash, presented by Ticketbash.com and sponsored by the Embassy Diner, Marty Lyons Foundation, and Collaborate Studios. For our entire crew, I'm Peter Schwartz. Thanks for watching.